In the last hour, there's been a story about Sir Alan Bates, the name that has come to represent the relentless pursuit of justice in one of the UK's gravest institutional failures, the Post Office Horizon scandal. For over 2 decades, Bates has been the voice for thousands of sub-postmasters, wrongfully accused, financially ruined, even imprisoned because of faulty IT software that misreported accounts. His journey from sub-postmaster to campaigner and more recently to knighted figurehead in this battle is testimony to his unyielding resolve for accountability and for fair compensation. And at the heart of recent discussions is Bates's request for a straightforward, humane deadline for compensation payments. With over 70 claimants having already died waiting, he argues that March 2025 should mark the end of this saga. Yet the government has avoided committing to a concrete date, citing concerns that a strict deadline might unfairly exclude some claimants. The irony of this is clear. After years of delay, the priority should surely be to provide timely justice, not defer it further under the guise of inclusivity and vagueness. Now, an odd drama unfolds between Alan Bates, the trustworthy Alan Bates, and the current Prime Minister, Sir Keir Starmer. Bates, who has been vocal before Parliament, claims he wrote to Starmer twice, urging a response, and Starmer's team, meanwhile, says that a reply was issued. This back and forth raises an eyebrow. Are we to believe that the letter simply got lost in the proverbial post? And if it did, it adds a grim irony to a scandal that began with mistrust in the very institution of the Post Office. Starmer's apparent lack of urgency, regardless of the truth, risks reinforcing the impression that bureaucracy can still outlast even the most fervent appeals for justice. And who are we to believe? Are we to believe this man, Alan Bates, who is the stalwart principal, the icon of trust, or are we to believe Sir Keir Starmer, who says that he's written back? The letter's in the post. I've already posted it. I wrote back. This man who, day after day, there are stories about his lies. One cannot discuss Bates's position without understanding the staggering toll the scandal has taken on people like Janet Skinner, Dewey Lewis, both of whom suffered life-altering repercussions because of the faulty Horizon system. Skinner, who was imprisoned over a supposed £59,000 shortfall, now grapples with neurological issues brought on by the stress. She continues to navigate a Byzantine compensation process that has seen her repeatedly asked for medical proof of her injuries, almost as though the system demands her to relive her trauma. She's got to beg for the compensation that should be offered. Meanwhile, Lewis's story highlights a surreal twist. He received his £200,000 payout only days before he was set to testify before a select committee. It leaves one questioning if these compensation schemes are merely reactive measures rather than the proactive attempts to right wrongs. This particular compensation scheme has been criticised as designed to wear people down, offering minimal support for navigating the legal and the bureaucratic hurdles it poses. The problem here lies not just with the compensation. It's about restoring faith in a system that has betrayed its own workers, often sentencing them to prison, poverty, or humiliation. And the question for Starmer is surely clear. Where is the urgency in delivering the overdue justice? Surely this man Starmer understands justice. Didn't he once lead the CPS? Bates himself has considered crowdfunding legal action as a last resort, illustrating the desperate frustration felt by those impacted. Such measures would indeed disrupt the compensation process further, yet for some claimants, that is preferable to the endless limbo they currently endure of rhetoric rather than reality. This saga with Starmer is symptomatic of the broader tendency among leaders to favour due consideration over decisive action, promises over delivery. Starmer's spokesperson has defended the delay, saying the need for a thorough and considered response. Well, surely the issue is the letter was sent. Yet for Bates and his fellow claimants, the reply isn't merely procedural. It represents a long-awaited recognition of their suffering and ultimately an overdue apology from the state. We need to remember that Sir Alan Bates embodies more than just a campaign for justice. He's a reminder of what can happen when individuals demand truth, transparency, and fair treatment from powerful institutions. His call for a set deadline is not a plea for arbitrary finality, but a compassionate appeal to respect the lives disrupted by the scandal, disrupted by bureaucracy, disrupted by the obsession with defending the indefensible. As we navigate this new chapter, the choice seems simple. Do we believe Bates, the relentless campaigner whose actions have consistently sought justice and been in the pursuit of truth, or do we believe the bureaucrats and the liars who continue to drag their feet? The most compelling answer lies not in words, but in the government's actions, or the lack of actions.